welcome to the Freitas Effect. I am Simon Freitas, one of your co-hosts.
And I am Azip Freitas, one of your co-hosts as well.
Yay! And we are here. So, if you are curious about what the Freitas Effect is, because this is your first time you're ever listening, or you just forgot about what the hell you're listening to on this show, it is a podcast about us, two Ethiopian Americans who are trying to keep it real as we navigate adulthood and share things that are affecting our communities right now, in the past, and in the future. Bam!
Oh, shit.
Shucky darn. Yes.
All right, y'all. So we're just going to do a quick recap of what our episode was last week. So last week we shared interviews with Robert Lee Kelly Morgan, Sarah Hutchinson, and Javier Uncle Tito Torres. Also, our music producer, Generva Filippo.
Yeah.
So with them, we were talking about their journey as music producers, music managers, music appreciators, for our Conversations with Creatives segment. So this week's topic, to close out this part 2 of our 5-part series, we have Jasmine Garcia.
Yes.
Arts administrator, vocalist, educator, advocate, activist, and overall queen, talking about her journey as an artist and into the world of arts administration with the many organizations that she is a part of. Yep. But before we get into that,
it is time for How the Turntables. Yeah. And if you are sick of me explaining things, get ready because I'm doing it again. So How the Turns Have Tabled. It is a section where I'm going to tell a story. Shit could go sideways and we're going to go skirt. Shit. But yeah, so it's just like a plot twist section. Here we go. It's story time.
Oh my God.
So this story is all about success and perception. I know it feels like I just went crazy and then said like really smart things. I think I'm smart, guys. So
no, you is smart.
I is what I am. So
Alright.
Being an actor, I want to share with y'all, the whole shtick is given circumstances and how you react in these circumstances. So you have to be aware of everything that your character has the opportunity to react to.
Okay.
And I had this acting assignment where I decided to half-ass it because I thought it wouldn't really make a difference. So I rehearsed a scene multiple times, and my partner and I thought we were going to kill it, but we were also very high when we were rehearsing.
No!
So then, the day of the performance, we go there, into class, we're like about to like do the whole scene, like we had to do it 2 different ways, and we were sober, and we didn't feel the same energy as when we were like high as fuck.
Of course, because you were hype as fuck.
Yup, and so like we knew it could have been better. Like, you know, it's just that feeling of like fuck. And then we all got grades back, and I got an 80, and I just looked around me, and everyone else around me had 90s, but there was only like 3 people I could really see grades from, but I just felt so defeated. And it was...
But that's not a bad grade.
I know, an 80 really isn't that bad. It's just that I felt like I wasn't excelling as fast as all my classmates.
Right.
And so, like, that feeling of, all right, well, I'm not good enough, even though it's still good. Like,
right.
you know...
Oh, like the class average. Mm-hmm. That's annoying. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, like, I felt like I was at the low end. And so, like, I took my final so seriously for that class.
Good.
Which, you know, obviously you guys should take all your fucking finals seriously. But, like, this, I took it kind of to an extreme because
Wait, what was this class?
It was actor's voice through text.
Ooh, that's hard.
Yeah, so we did a lot of different kinds of initiating different kinds of energies through the body using your voice.
Cool.
And those kind of ideological concepts. But as I was saying, I was working my ass off for the final. For that scene, it was a similar situation where you have a partner, you rehearse the scene, doing different kind of energies and like finding what works best for you, and then no matter what you do out there in front of the class, it's always just like that circumstance, that scene, that energy that you have, and like the space that you're in and all that jazz. So I really didn't want to jinx myself. I wasn't intoxicated any time during rehearsal.
Yes.
Like, you know, I really took this shit to the T of seriousness.
Good.
And then...
As you should.
Yeah, we should have been doing this from the first place, y'all. But we are here! So, on the day of the final, I was telling my classmates how badly I felt like I had done on I think it was a midterm grade, where I got that B-. And they all burst out laughing because the people I was talking to had received 60s and 70s, so they were like, bitch, like, you did so good compared to me. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, you were like, I did not come to play.
I was just like, oh, fuck, I didn't even know my failure was better than your success.
Yeah, you were like, I am preparado, muchacha.
Yes, but I couldn't say that because UNH is 90% white. But anyway.
Let him know!
I did.
All right.
So I guess it was really only the people around me who got A's, which makes so much sense because they were scene partners, and I just didn't put that together because I was just so succumbed into my own guilt and failure.
Okay, wait, can you explain that more? Because I don't know what that means.
Like, I was so sucked into, all right, I have an 80 and they have 90s, and that made me feel like a failure, so I didn't even give a shit about what anyone else in the class got for grades.
Oh, you were only,
like, you know,
you
I was
cared
only
about
thinking
the people
like
who were partners.
Like, these people next to me are 90s. I didn't even think about how they were partners. Oh, you didn't even realize
that. So is that how the turntabled?
So I'd say that's one big way, yeah. Okay. Because, like, well, that, and then also the fact that I didn't do badly. Like, you know, it's like, I actually did pretty well compared to other people in the class. Yeah, you did, man. But I thought failure was a B- at that moment. And it's like, it was a great realization because it first of all showed me about taking your craft seriously when you're an artist and not getting stuck in your own head. And then it also showed me how your perception is always skewed by your ego. So it's always best to take a deep breath, keep doing your best, and you will find success. Because holy shit, guys, I really thought I did badly, but I ended up getting an A- in that class in general, and I killed it for the final. So hard work goes a long way, but also even if you think you fail, you can always keep growing as a human.
But also, grades are a social construct.
Facts. Oh my god, it's always so hard to take grades when you're in an artistic, like, environment.
Right, because then it goes back to that whole, like, art is in the eye of the beholder, and that anything can be perfect if you're an artist, right?
But what even is perfect?
And like, literally, like, perfect to whose standards? Those are the questions you need to be asking yourself when you're holding specific standards to your own creative work and to any work you're producing. Yes. Question the artifacts, fam. Yes. Question them. Always. We gotta be critical thinkers at all times. That was dope. Thanks for sharing, man. Yee. All right, so let's take a break. Hi, friends.
First, we just want to thank everyone who's made a donation to support the show through the various platforms like Patreon or by attending our events.
Running a podcast costs money because, as we say often, this shit ain't free. So here's what your dollars go to when you make a financial contribution to us.
Production costs. I edit every episode, and when you make a donation, it goes towards paying for reliable editing software, so we don't lose our audio files.
Streaming. It costs $18 a month to keep our episodes available for you to listen wherever you hear us.
No matter what donation amount, these are just a few of the ways we've seen how our patrons are able to make a positive impact on the show.
See what exclusive access you can get to our content by becoming a monthly donor through Patreon or PayPal. You can go to patreon.com/thefreitaseffect and
you can find the PayPal link in any of our episode descriptions or in our Instagram bio. All right, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, we back.
Yes. And we are going to hop into our interview with Jasmine Garcia.
All right, y'all. So we here with Jasmine Garcia. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
Jasmine, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine Garcia. And also, I'm like really like, so I don't know if y'all know this. This is my first. This is the first time I've ever been interviewed. Like,
woo!
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my god, I'm being asked things about me. Okay. Anyways. Yeah. I mean,
we're honored to take away your interview virginity.
Thank you. So yeah, I know. It's like a giddy first date. But yeah. So I mean, Jasmine Garcia. Pronouns she, her, hers. I am a Puerto Rican girl from Worcester, Mass. 26, getting closer to 30. And yeah, that's me.
So Jasmine, when did you first identify as an artist?
So with that question, I really feel like I don't know why I just got the image of the river from Pocahontas and it goes into like the waterfall. I feel like that's a really good representation of how I got here. I was just like, oh, this seems nice. And then you kept going and kept going. And then now you're in this pool. And so, I mean, I will say I first have always been like a lover of music. And I would say like musicals. I think that's like as like a kid, like I knew all the words to Annie. I knew all the words to The Sound of Music. I would beg people to watch it with me. I remember like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with like Anastasia, and I would, because this is when you had VCRs and you didn't have the internet. So for like her songs, I would like listen to it, pause, write down the lyrics, play, pause, write down the lyrics. So I think like it kind of started there in like my interest, and I was determined. But I would say probably when I was like, okay, I think I want to like do this. And I actually didn't say this, like I'm a vocalist first. I think it really started, I started to get into American Idol, just like watching it. And I fell in love with, not fell in love, but like I admired Jordan Sparks. And I was just like, oh, because she was like the youngest one there. And I was just like, okay, she cool. I like this. But I think the moment, like for real, sorry, was at the time my mother was really was starting to watch Tyler Perry plays. And so she was bringing them to the house and we were watching them. And that's when I first came across Tamela Man. And I don't know if everybody knows who Tamela Man is, but she's a gospel artist. Y'all don't know her, y'all need to listen to her and get your life together. She will feel like your gospel soul. But yeah, her name is Tamela Man. She's worked with Kirk Franklin, and she just sang from like the bottom of her feet. And I just remember at that time I was just like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And then I kept telling my mom, I want to do that. And so I bothered her enough that she was just like, all right. So then she got me a karaoke machine, and she got me a couple of albums, and then we practiced. I just started practicing in the bathroom with my karaoke machine. And I would say like that's when I like started to like take it seriously.
I love that. Oh my God. You know what's funny, Simon? I don't know if you know this, but Jasmine is the reason why I watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh,
It's a brilliant
I remember.
Brilliant show.
Oh my God,
That show is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's also like the audacity of that show, like in like the best way, to be like, nah, I'm gonna make a song. Like I don't know if I got really into it, but there's like a song called Period Sex. And yeah.
Put down a towel.
Yeah, and just the idea to be like as transparent and vulgar but funny. Yeah,
and it's everything everyone's thinking.
Yes, so realistic while being as extra as fucking possible. Like when they're like talking about like antidepressants and like everyone's on it, and they're like, "Oh, you think that you're special? You a basic bitch. Like you're on only one." Like,
oh my God, I love it. Like I love it when she goes back and she's well, I mean, her and Chan are like back and forth all the time, but how there's a song of like, we should definitely not have sex right now. And then this next verse is, we should definitely not have sex again. It's just like, it's just like you're doing things as you know you should not be doing them.
Yep. It's great. Yeah. Sorry to take us down that tangent, but
no, I'm all for any avenues.
Okay. Love that show. Like,
so as you mentioned, you were like, Mom, I want to do this. So did you end up doing it?
Yeah. It's so funny that like, you know, the whole thing about like growing into like becoming like your parents. I am morphing into my mother. And like I know it and I see it because I just react the way that she reacted to me. Where like, I guess I was just saying it so much. Like, Mom, I want to do this. Mom, I want to do this. And she got so sick of me that she was just like, okay, so I guess we're doing it. And then would make me practice. And when I say, and I think this is why I can, I mean, I'm a person, so like sometimes I'm sensitive, but like I can take criticism because my mom did that from the jump. She was just like, you don't sound good, start again. Sometimes she wouldn't even say that. She would just play the song back and I would just have to start again. And it was, yeah, it's really interesting because like my mom, and I think my mom just kind of became invested in me because she saw I was somebody who was determined. Oh, actually, I remember what happened. There was one point, yeah, I was bothering her enough, so she sent me into my sister's room because she was the only one who had a laptop or a computer, and she sent me in there, and she said, "Sing this song," like, and left me in there for like a couple of hours, and I came back, my voice so hoarse.
Oh yeah.
But she was just like, "Okay, she's doing it." So I guess she really wants to do it, and then it was actually her who started. You know, she researched. You know, can young people audition for the Puerto Rican festival? That was one of the first really big gigs I ever did in Worcester.
Cool.
And then she was also, because my mom was really hardworking, she was doing 2 jobs at one point. She was working partially at the DCU Center in Worcester, where it's like, that's like our big like arena for shows. And because she worked there, she then was like asking management of just like, hey, you know, who sings the national anthem? Can my daughter do it? And so like I started singing like national anthem for like hockey games.
That's so cool. What the fuck?
I know. Honestly, my mom is like my hustler.
Yeah.
That's what a supportive family looks like. This is the energy we need.
Yeah, and I remember this is so funny. I remember one time I auditioned with a song for like this like theater something. I don't know. It was such a long time ago, but my mom drove out to like a town and I went to this audition and I didn't get it. And she automatically, it's so funny. It's like become like this whole like back and forth with me and her now. Like as an adult, I'll sometimes say like, hey mom, I do need to process my feelings. But she has always kind of kept the, okay, you didn't get it. Okay, ask them what you didn't do right. Ask them what you should be working on because, okay, like she's always about next move. So yeah. And then, you know, I guess I started singing a little bit in high school. Funny story. So my brother was like big in like football and basketball and all this stuff. So I first became like Tito's little sister, and then I started singing, and then I became the girl that could sing.
Hey.
And then I remember this is a funny story, and like some people who know me know it, but I thought it'd be interesting. We had a new mayor who was being inaugurated, and we had a new high school and like new auditorium and everything. And so they asked me, hey, Jasmine, do you want to sing the national anthem? And I was like, yes, I do. It's going to be televised on like local news and everything. Friday goes by, Saturday goes by, Sunday goes by. Monday comes and my music teacher says, what the fuck? Jasmine, what the hell happened? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you didn't show up to the inauguration. And I was like, I missed it. And he's like, yes, it was this weekend and you just didn't show up. So they had to get these random girls, these 2 girls with my name. So my name was like already pre-programmed to like show up. So it was like Jasmine Garcia and 2 girls just come up and sing the national anthem. Yeah.
Damn.
I remember that.
Damn.
I know. That's why I always try to check my emails now.
Shit. That's funny though, but it's real.
But yeah, I mean, that's where I kind of started. You know, I started singing in high school, then I went to college. And what I loved, what was hilarious about high school was that the chorus class didn't care about being in chorus. Like it was very much like a extra credit thing that like you like did, but I was like the only one who was just like, I got this alto section, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna do it right.
Yes.
Especially the alto
everyone else is like, I just need to pass.
Yes. It's like I just need to open my mouth and say words.
And you're like, but music.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, how did going from this to what you do now, like how did you find your path to like arts administration?
Okay. So actually kind of ties in. So after high school, I went to college, and I went into college wanting to be a social worker.
Hey.
I mean, that was gonna be my bread and butter. And what's funny is that, I mean, all of my family is all in like humanity work. They're all like kind of like life coaches or part of like nonprofits or, that kind of stuff. And so I'm there, I'm doing these classes, and dang, they were boring. Like, they were rough. And what I will say this was that, like, it wasn't the content that was rough, it was how they taught it. I was just like, I don't know, I was just kind of struggling with it. And so then I joined the gospel choir that was on campus, which is called the Allegrettos. And I was in there. I loved it. It was the first time I was ever really like a part of like a group singing. And I became really close with the director named Jay Cottle. And he told me about a program that we had at the school called Interdisciplinary Studies, where it's essentially one where you get to create your own major in many ways. So like you have to take like your core classes for interdisciplinary studies, but then you get to kind of pick and choose, okay, these are my interests, and you kind of just, get to build your own. And so I was checking out classes. I still wanted sociology because I mean, social work and sociology, I think it's really near and dear to my heart. But I got into something I had never heard of, which was arts management. And so, going through classes like that, getting to know like, okay, like these are the tools that you start to learn on, like, let's say if I wanted to create an organization for young girls who are in transition out of like foster homes, but it's like a creative organization, like that's the place where I get to do that. And that really intrigued me. And so then, I realized, I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting into a bit of management, a little bit of arts education, a little bit of sociology. And I mean, to be honest, like I was really confused. I was like, okay, so what am I going to do when I graduate? But I think that I stayed with my friendships. And during summer breaks, that's actually when I came to Boston to live with my friend, Jay Cottle, who was, the leader of the gospel group. And we're searching for jobs. And I came across the Bach Center, which I have worked with both of you at.
Hey.
So we all found it. Yeah, so we all found it. And first started off there as like a music teaching artist assistant. And I think, just to kind of like, consolidate the question, I think I've always wanted to do three things: performance, mentorship, and giving people agency. Like giving people just the knowledge, because I mean, agency really is about you being able to do what you want, and your circumstances not restrict you from that or working against your circumstances. And so when I kind of figured out like it was like those three things, and it really did kind of align with the Bach Center. So when there was a job opportunity there, I was just like, okay, I feel like I can do a lot of these things. And then this Jay Cottle and I helped found the Dunamis organization, which helps young emerging artists and arts managers gain professional development to be successful in the fields that they choose. That also just kind of came out of like, okay, we've learned all this information, pre-existing organizations already have their missions and their visions, and that is totally fine and fair. But we were finding gaps that we as young people of color were missing. And I think it was still about that mentorship, that agency, that professional development piece. And so then, I think it feeds the kind of two sides of me of like, I am the artist, but I also really enjoy being in charge of like programmings, of like situations where I feel like I get to put my voice in where I think things are lacking. And I think, and that's just purely based on experience and being like culturally responsive.
Awesome. So I know that we're gonna definitely hop into some info to ask you about Dunamis and what you're up to now. But first,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear if you've experimented with any other kinds of like art forms other than singing.
Yes. Okay. The answer is yes,
Yeah.
Jasmine forward. So so I moved here to Boston in 2017, and low key, high key, that's when like my world really kind of expanded. I'm from Worcester. I love Worcester, and I think that like there are pockets of artistry in Worcester, but I think in Boston, like everybody was just like, no, the arts world was just so much bigger. Okay, motorcycle. I know. and and to be honest, I mean, like there are just plain out more like institutions and programs that are here that say, hey, we're an arts program, or hey, we're an arts organization, come through. And I also think that like maybe even less than institutions, but like people here are far more innovative to just begin doing work. And I mean, like literally, you guys are an example of that. You guys are siblings who, yeah, no, I was listening to like your first episode just to kind of, refresh my mind of just like, y'all were like, y'all would do this thing like after school regardless. And so like, why not just put it out there? Because I bet other people are having these conversations. And so you're just like, yeah, let's do it. That is not like a normal thing in a lot of other places. Like, it's just this thing where like, oh, we talked about it and then it dies.
Yeah.
And, and I think Boston, at least even in my experience, is like one of, at least the only place where it's like, no, that idea? Fuck yeah. Let's do that shit.
It has to be exactly those words. That's fucking awesome, kid.
And so with that being said, moving here, I was being introduced to so many people, and just kind of like opportunities kind of came about. And I also feel like I need to say that, like, I know I just kind of talked about my experience, but I very, very, very much still feel like a fish out of water. Like, I know maybe like two things, and that is ask as many questions as you can and say yes, even if you are a little bit scared.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's pretty much kind of where I live by. And that came with an opportunity. So like, yeah, I'm in Boston, I'm meeting people's friends and other people's friends. And I came across an opportunity to work with a woman named Elizabeth Addison, who is a playwright. She also writes musicals. And, she had written this musical called This Is Treatment. And, has been, rewriting it, doing different renditions of it. And so she asked me to be a part of like this kind of concert series. And it was going to be performed at Feinstein's 54 Below in New York, to which I didn't know what that was. I think that I'm still very like a baby to like the arts world. So when I was saying that to people, they're like, what? You're going there? And I was just like, yeah. And I looked it up and I was like, oh shit. I looked it up and I was like, oh shit, this place is cool. But like, I didn't know like what it meant. And I was just like, oh, it's lit. Like,
yeah, you're like, oh shit, this is a big deal.
Yeah. And and I think I also really love that about my experience, because it really doesn't let me get it doesn't get me lost in the hype. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, yep. I just because like I just don't know things, or I don't know certain people, I therefore don't get lost in like celebrity or like, fame, whatever kind of thing. Yep. And I just get to kind of appreciate like, oh shit, this is really cool. This is an awesome opportunity. And I don't get to like psych myself out, mm-hmm. which I think I would really do. Yeah. But yeah, so I got to perform in New York with This Is Treatment from Elizabeth Addison, who continues to work on that project, and she is awesome. Amazing. What else have I done? Sorry, another truck. But anyways, so yeah, I've been able to do some acting. Not too much dance, which I would like to get into more, but I also think I'm somebody who's able to kind of get inspiration from any kind of artwork or field. I mean, low key, like if I can like see like an outfit, I'm probably thinking of like a character who might be that way.
Ooh.
I yeah, I mean like I dabble a little bit. I have some secret poems that I have. And yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely interested. I think I'm a little bit shy. But I have dipped my toes. I just need to get in the water a little bit more.
We stand. Cool. So what are things that you're working on now, if you are working on anything?
So right now I'm really kind of interested in just honing my skills. So I'm trying to write a little bit. I'm trying to play my piano a little bit more, just to be yes, like right now I'm really just kind of interested in being self-sufficient. So reading, writing, playing. As far as like I don't have personal projects happening right now, but you know, like I know we'll talk about like Dunamis, but Dunamis is also we've done house sessions in the past. And I had a house session last November. And that's where like emerging artists just get to have a place in an audience to kind of put themselves out there. And it was pretty awesome. And when I tell you the Puerto Ricans ran deep, they came through.
Hey.
Like I'm in Boston, all of them are in Worcester, and we did it at the Dorchester Art Project, DAP, which is another awesome venue. And low-key kind of sold the place out when people were standing. So I was like, that was really nice. But yeah, I got to do some work there. But yeah, I think right now I'm really trying to recharge myself and hopefully put something out soon. If anything, just put snippets of things. Yeah.
Cool. If you want to talk about Dunamis, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, more so just because Dunamis, like I said, it's an organization for emerging artists and arts managers to develop professional development. And we say emerging because we don't necessarily have an age limit. We at first were like, oh yeah, young people, but then the older people were just like, what about us? And so yes, we kind of opened it up. But it's really just about it's really kind of our baby in the sense of, you know, if you're an artist, wherever you are at in your process, and you just want a place for some mentorship, for some guidance, and to help you execute a plan or a project, this is where you come to us. If you really want to put on a podcast, or if you really want to put on an event and you really don't know how to, and you want to learn, like, and like, hey, low-key, I'm broke and I don't got money, like, that's where you come to our arts management program, where you get to learn like all the different partnerships and organizations and grants and fundraising and grassroots organizing that you can do. And then also we also do consultations. Like if you just want to meet with us and you don't think a program is for you, the first hour is free, and then after that it's $25 an hour, which isn't too bad. But yeah, I mostly just want to put it out there for anybody who's interested. You do not have to be like, oh, I got my Instagram out, or I got my YouTube channel, or you don't have to be in any of those places. And in fact, if you aren't in those places, we would encourage you to come to us, because then we're going to help you in that way. And if you're an artist, we've had a lot of musical artists, but if you are an artist who wants to do, I don't know, a visual album, I don't know, something, anything you want to do, we would love to host that for you. So anybody who's listening, just know that there's an opportunity for you, that you don't have to have like, an entire portfolio ready. But yeah, we just want to, it's hard out here. It's nervous. It's
scary.
I'm telling you. Exactly.
We do it for the rush though.
Gotta feel alive somehow.
Oh my god.
But before we finish out this interview, I want to know where people, our listeners, anybody on the headphones right now listening to our show, where they can support you or find your art.
Yeah, so I am low-key. I don't know why I keep saying low-key. I think it's just because I'm nervous. I am putting out a website. I'm putting it together right now. It'll be on because I'm not paying for a site right now. It'll be on Wix. So, and I don't know what it'll be called yet, but my name is Jasmine Garcia, and I'm sure I'll be putting that out. But you can also follow me on Instagram, which is Jasmine G288. You can also follow Dunamis, which is Dunamis Boston, on Instagram. And also, I forgot to mention, which is probably the most like relevant maybe thing, is I'm also in a band called Petrichor.
Ooh.
And I know I was saying so many things, and I'm in a band called Petrichor, which we are all alumni from the Allegrettos group that was in college, and so we all are just kind of here. And we've put on Christmas shows. We actually put on our own Halloween show 2 years ago. It was kind of insane, and we performed it at the Oberon.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was called The Haunt, and it was all of us. Some of them have not acted before, but it was a musical. And so what we kind of did was we took so it was called The Haunt, and it was about villains.
Okay.
And so it was about villains from like different kind of Disney characters, just kind of taking depictions from all of those and then transforming it in songs. Some of them, were things taken from like Disney, some taken from like Broadway musicals, ideas and whatnot. But yeah, anyway, so we do that. And so you can also find us at Petrichor_music on Instagram as well.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you. Alrighty, Rue, and that was Jasmine's interview.
Yes.
Asif, do you have anything that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love her. And second of all, I thought it was interesting when she talked about when her creativity originated and where it was inspired from. And I love that she started talking from her youth and talking about how, she was inspired by Disney and musicals and American Idol. And honestly, all of us were, right?
Yeah.
And you don't even realize that these are outlets when you're a child of inspiring you to be like, oh yeah, I could try to sing, or I could try to dance, or I could try to draw. There are so many ways that you can be a part of this creative community. And I feel like when you're a child, obviously naturally children are so creative all the time.
Oh yeah.
But we shut that shit down so quick by being like, no, you need to actually take your shit seriously. Yeah. And I think that goes into, if you have commentary before I slide into
I just wanted to say, I really, the American Idol thing that she brought up, I just remember even being a kid and thinking great, so I think when I'm 16, I can audition for this show. It's just
right.
It kind of gives you a goal. It almost, it makes you excited about being a singer, being a vocalist, kind of pursuing that as an actual passion and a dream instead of just seeing it as a pipe dream.
Yep. Major facts. And so I really like how when she was talking about watching American Idol and seeing Jordan Sparks and how even for me being a light-skinned black girl, Jordan Sparks was the closest thing I could relate to for representation when she was first on the show, and I was still young, and seeing, recognizing she was young too, and seeing that she could make it that far, and then it gives you time to think, okay, maybe I should be preparing for this, but then what support do I have, right?
Yep.
And I love how much her mom supported her in this journey, because she would have never gotten to where she is without that initial support. She would have never kept this aspect of her life a part of her life if it wasn't for her mother's support. And that's kind of how I feel with dance. There were so many times when I was in 3rd grade, and Dad would be like picking me up from the after school program and be like, okay, it's time to go to dance. And I'd be like, Dad, can I just quit? Like, I really don't even want to do this. Like, it's not even fun. And he'd be like, no, like, you have to do this. And like, he would continue to force me to do this. And I think obviously it was because we were paying for it. And because like parents need space and sanity time. So they were like, no, you're doing this.
Yeah, I'm not watching you.
And like, you know, but then my mom was always like, why isn't Azeb in the front? And I was like, well, I'm tall. And then so she was but I mean, there's probably other reasons why I wasn't in the front, but we ain't gonna get into that today. We gonna save that for another day because, you know, racism. But whatever. Simon, did you have more to say about her mom's initial support?
Yes, I loved how her mom tested her devotion. Like, you know, because like her mom wasn't just like, oh yeah, you're in it, let's fucking go. It was like, no, go do this and show that you love this. Okay, you do love this? Fuck yeah, I'm about to be your agent, bitch. Yeah. Like, you know, it was like, real. We're about to
I'm here for you, sis.
Make this all work. We're gonna make it real. Like, if you suck, it doesn't matter that you suck. You're gonna grow from this. Like, it was always just, like she said, like, working towards her, I don't have the exact quote, but basically like her own personal growth as an artist and like being able to find success even though she doesn't get the part. Like, you know, like
Yep.
It was just so great. And the Puerto Rican festival, like, holy shit, good for her. Like, I remember hearing about that shit when we're just, like, we'd be driving through Massachusetts, and then you'd see the Puerto Rican festival and get stuck on traffic, and you're just like, this is amazing. So, like, good on you, Jasmine. Good on your mom for being that, like, you know, I don't want to say annoying. What's the word when you're persistent? Yes. You know, like when you're just like, yes, like this is definitely happening, and I'm gonna figure out how my daughter is gonna be able to do this, and how that kind of segued into the national anthem. Like that was another thing that I really vibed with.
Before we even get into the national anthem, I just really want to talk about the importance of parents just straight up supporting your kids. Like if your kids say, "I have a vision," just go with it. Support them. Empower them. Like, youth are always consistently being, like, dragged down. And it's like, they're the ones that are a reflection of what is actually happening. You know what I mean? So it's like, we need to take them seriously. Like, fuck that ageism shit.
Yeah.
I also just want to thank Jasmine for sharing this story, because this is the only story we've ever had on the show where people are, you know, coming from, you know, parents of color. And for anyone who's a parent or an aspiring parent, this is a great opportunity for you to really like sink in and realize like, okay, this is how I should be supporting my child, you know, and to test them. And I really like how authentic and transparent and real that her mom was with her, being like, nah, that sounded like trash, do it again. It just shows you like, you know, you should either take a different route because maybe vocalization is not for you. And just be real with your kids. If they suck at something, they suck at something. But give them a chance to continue to try and to practice, you know? Because
it's all about self-determination. Like, if this is something you want to do, something you want to change, you don't want to suck anymore, then it's going to come from you. Like, this is your body. This is your instrument. It's how you figure out how to use it. So at the end of the day, no one's going to be able to do this work for you. And if your parents aren't supporting you and you still keep trying to do the work, then it's even that much harder.
I mean, and there are also like even people who are legends now, right? In every aspect of the arts, there are legendary people who, when they started, they were trash. Because it, again, as we've said in other episodes, is that like, this is something you need to practice. This isn't just a skill that you're gifted with, that you're a prodigy. And if you are, you're just lucky that you're talented and God blessed you with that. But otherwise, like, if you really want it, you have to like practice for it, you know? No matter who the fuck you are.
I also just want to add in how much I really liked when Jasmine said she went from being Tito's little sister to the girl that can sing. Because I vibe pretty hard with that. Like, I was always Azeb's little brother, or like, you know, I'd go to class, and since we're only a year apart, the teachers would be like, I recognize the name Freitas. Azeb, so you're Azeb's brother? And I was like, Azeb's my sister. Like,
well, that's funny, because like, I never, ever, ever heard other people say, oh, you're Azeb's brother. Because like, whenever, like, to you, or I just never thought about it, because I just kind of was living my life and never thought that I actually like made an impression on people.
But you do.
Laura Jean Covey shit. If you know that I watched I loved all the, what is it? To all the boys I loved before. I've watched it at least 13 times. Because I resonate.
Fucking Laura Jean.
Laura Jean Covey, she know the vibes.
Oh, this girl.
She's just stupid sometimes, because Jordan Fisher's character, but we're not talking about it today.
Not today.
Anyways, yeah, no, even for me, when I would meet some people, they'd be like, oh, you're Simon's sister? I'd be like, shut the fuck up! I was born first!
Mm-hmm.
But it's fine, it's whatever, it's fine.
But I just wanted to share that because it's like, we ask all of our the people in our interviews this season, like, when did you first identify as an artist? And it's so great to hear how when she shared her artistry, then it gave her an identity that she didn't feel like she was confined to someone else. It was her own,
Yes.
So that was really empowering.
Especially because, for other people, when we asked them, when did you identify as an artist?
Mm-hmm.
Some folks were very young, and some people were honestly, not until I was in my mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, it really takes even longer than that. You know, it's a label that's a heavy burden to bear.
Yeah.
And whenever you're ready to accept that title, that means it's a massive part of your identity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just something you're like, oh yeah, I do this on the side. No, that's a fucking part of you, man. Yeah.
You could not live without this. You are, your art is, like she said, a part of you. It's
it's an
essential.
extension of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. I'm sorry if you don't think that way, but
it just
it
is.
is. So getting back to the national anthem, it was funny when she brought that up. I was like, LOL. All the times where me and you have been at a NESBA competition or some event where anyone was singing the national anthem and us just judging the shit out of them because we're this is your first time singing, and me and Simon aren't oh my god, we can't wait to be vocalists. Homies can sing, but we ain't flexing right now.
No.
But I never thought of that. If I was an actual singer, the national anthem is one of my outlets where I can actually get visibility.
Yeah.
I just I was like, oh wow, that's really,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even I remember back in 8th grade, there was this girl who she sang the national anthem at almost every single sporting event for our the middle school, and it was just when we were kids, it was really all right, we get it. You can sing, whatever.
LOL.
But, looking back on it now, good for this girl's parents. I'm not going to name her on the show for anonymity purposes. But,
good.
But, it's just that idea of, first-gen student in school, their parents support them for their artistic outlets, and then, maybe, I don't think she really went off and did a huge, musical vocal career after that, but it's still just great that there's an 8th grader or a 13-year-old that got to figure that out so soon.
Right.
That art wasn't their passion.
Major facts.
Because she was great, but it was also just all right, she looked like she wasn't enjoying herself all the time.
Right. And it's just sometimes you just got to take yourself off that path.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm going to just say it one more time. If you think that something is meant for you and then you realize, oh shit, I actually suck at this, or this isn't something I want to continue doing, you have every right to stop.
Oh yeah.
And everyone else who's around that person, you have every right to say something. I'm sorry, not in an evil way. I'm just saying there are some people who should be told.
Yes, because some people are wasting thousands of dollars going to college to become a musical theater major, and holy fucking shit, don't keep wasting time. Tell people no. Reject them. Fuck.
Just let them know.
Because some people,
sucks.
it really does take time to get better at art. I'm going to be honest. I still suck at painting. But, at least I keep fucking trying. And, I don't think that it's going to be my day job. I don't think that I suck. But I know that it's not the, what my skills were in drawing class back in high school haven't gotten that much better.
Right.
And it's been, 10 years. So,
Right, and it's just how much time you decide to allocate to practicing that craft.
Exactly.
I also just want to never forget when Fergie sang the national anthem, and just remember
oh god
that those moments you might think no one's gonna remember them, but even Jasmine just bringing this up, we were like, oh my god, the national anthem songs. Every person we know who has sang that song, and how fucking trash it was or how great it was.
Yeah.
For me and Simon, we were talking about this one performance we saw of our friends Kimberly Paul, Alicia Thomas, and Leanne
Rosario.
And they sang Hallelujah. And you know how many times you go to a fucking karaoke bar and they sing Hallelujah and you're just like, okay, whatever. But when they sang this song in high school, it literally still gives us chills.
I legit have the chills right
like,
now.
even when we talk about it, it's just like...
Their voices,
it
the
was
resonance.
like a spiritual experience just
Always.
hearing that trio of people singing this song.
So
and it was
much
like we
power.
never heard that song before. Because that's the power of what you can do with your instrument.
Yes.
Whether your instrument is your voice or your body or your hands and what you create with them, there is so much power that we have when we tap into our creativity.
Yes.
And especially when we share these live experiences of vulnerability. You know? So just had to like let y'all know.
Yeah.
Going from a trash experience to a real one.
Yeah.
Did you have any other points you wanted to dive into real quick?
I did. So I wanted to share about when she talked about like just another little tidbit on success and failure, like how she went into college thinking, you know, like social work would be her thing, and then going into interdisciplinary studies instead. Like, you know, it's like that moment could have been
takes balls, first of all.
Yeah.
Because you're in charge of your own independent curriculum at that point.
Like when I was working at Tufts, they had an interdisciplinary doctorate program, and that was the most confusing, insane thing that they ever had, but it was also the most creative, like amazing program that we offered. So it's just like, yeah, like, you know, interdisciplinary work, it's being a jack of all trades while still getting the most out of your experience.
Yep.
Like, you know, it's not just dipping your toes and dipping your toes. It's like dipping your toes, shoving your whole foot down there, swimming around a little bit, and selling Sugar Mama's cookies. Like,
LOL.
But yeah, so like, you know, that could have been a moment where she thought that she had failed, but in reality, her mentors and her support system showed her, yo, this is another opportunity for you to succeed in another place.
Yep.
And then also she discussed about how one of her passions is giving people agency, and how she was able to do that starting at the Box Center. And I just wanted to, because she explains very well what agency is, but I just wanted to give an exact definition.
Of course.
This is not for the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
We dive into other dictionaries
Of
sometimes.
course. It is from the University of Washington, Tacoma, Diversity and Social Justice Glossary.
Aha.
Agency refers to the thoughts and actions taken by people that express their individual power in social context. So if you don't feel like you have any power, you can't express your thoughts or create anything, and thus you have no agency. When you are given the space and the opportunity, like, you know, with her new company Dunamis, then that's a great example of a place that gives artists a space to use their agency in a all-around constructive manner. And that was my last point. So, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I also just wanted to mention how she talked about when she got to college, she joined a gospel choir. And I don't know, I remember when I was in college, there was a gospel choir, and there was also an a cappella choir, and there was also another kind of fucking choir. And TBH, when you think of any legendary artist that has made it, especially vocalists and singers, they've always started in a gospel choir, no matter what race or whatever. If you're a singer, you have some kind of experience with a gospel choir. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I just need to make that point across. Like, when you really listen, like, you know, like John Legend or like Aretha Franklin, or just like, there's so many artists that, like, if you dig into their background, even Usher started in a gospel choir.
Usher started in a gospel choir?
Yeah, man, because like the first place where speaking from like a Black experience, is like, you're forced to sing when you're at church.
Yep.
And if you're gifted with a talent, you know, they'll put you at the forefront.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So I just, like, needed to bring that up, that in the Black community, at least, like, that is one of the first places where you will be able to exercise this skill.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
know?
I remember even, like, just singing around the house, and Mom would hear me and go, like, when did you learn how to sing? And I'm just like, like, you know, it's just like, literally the whole entire sermon given by the priests and the deacons is all sung. Like, it's all like, like, you know, it's literally all just vocal, and then the response is all singing back. So
exactly.
like, even like there are songs in like Ethiopian traditional church like culture, but there's like it just ingrained throughout the church is just singing and like using your voice to carry that message. And I loved when Jasmine talked about singing through your feet.
Yes.
Oh, like using your whole body to get engaged in your art and your like your voice, because you think your voice is in your throat.
No,
but for that
it comes from the
resonance,
ground, baby.
Yes, like everything
you have
needs
to connect.
resonate.
You have to
like,
connect.
Even I just imagine like the opera singers that are able to go like, whoa, and then a fucking glass breaks.
Yep.
Like,
because it's a physical experience.
Yeah,
it's
like
not
the
just
vibrations that are coming out of your face.
Yeah, like it's not just auditory, it's not just vocal, it's like, it's everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I remember when I was doing a music program in Vienna, and we were in the Karlsplatz Church, and there was one singer who was doing a solo, and he just hit this note that was so high, and it was just him, and we're all in this church, you know what I mean? And it's not a mass, this is a concert, and this is like the norm in Europe, you know? Pull up to a church, hear a concert in another language, it's in Latin most likely, and homie is hitting this note at the like most pristine, smallest little volume, but it's like the most angelic sound you've ever heard in your fucking life. And you're just sitting there, eyes closed or open, looking at the beautiful fucking visuals that are around you in this decorated ass church. And I mean, you don't have to be religious for this. Like, this is like completely secular. People who just appreciate art and are there and present for this moment. And just hearing him be able to access that point through his vocal strings in his own throat, like, amazing. It's just like the amazing fucking talent that comes from people who are able to do that. And it's a shared experience, you know.
Also, like, just to give y'all some context, my parents already know this. I mean, our parents. But Azim and I are huge music critics, like, all the time, as we mentioned before. And, like, you know, for the fact for her to go off on this, like, you know, emotional, like, ride with this guy just means how fucking great he was. Like, I remember even one time we went to a funeral, and there was an amazing organ player.
Yeah.
And, like,
we
were just... No. This person was good.
No, she was great, but we suck for criticizing her at a funeral.
Yeah, but, like, you know, and then at the end, like, we went up to the best player there, and we were just like, yes, you did it well. Thank you so much. And then my dad was just standing there like, she doesn't even know what kind of compliment she just got. Like,
we literally were at a funeral, pulled up to the pianist and said, girl, you just gave us the service of a lifetime. And she was like, thank you so much. And then we walked away. And Dad's like, yo, she really don't even know how serious that shit is.
Yep. Oh, God. Well, it's like, you know, like, if I see, like, a theater play and then... If I see a play in a theater... Wow, I'm an actor, y'all. I don't even know words. But, like, if I see a play and, like, a background character is, like, way better than an actual lead...
Facts.
I will go up to the background character and say, you fucking killed it. Like...
Facts. Because at the end of the day, it's like everyone that's on the stage can be seen.
Yep.
Y'all people need to be remembered of that.
Oh, yeah. Tiny parts are still just as fucking important.
Tiny parts are even
visible.
more important. Because it's like, you think that no one's paying attention, but we paying attention. That's why when we say, dance until you get off the stage and no one can see you, we fucking mean it.
Seriously. 'Cause we can see you a little bit off the stage too.
Facts.
Like,
yeah. So just so I can flex my arts administration bachelor's degree real quick. With my music history focus. Hello. When I was studying that, right? In any course, in any of my music history courses where we started, it always started from the church. So, I mean, not even just the church, it started from spirituality. So when I was in this class, Music in America, with Gregory Slowick at Simmons University, my fave. Take it if you're there and you're listening. I really wish that's how every class started, but it's not. Music in America. Pow, pow, karate kick.
Just slow it. Like...
But he started with, like, Native Americans and, like, indigenous music, because that's what ethnomusicologists were recording when they were starting to track history of music. And then it went into Gregorian chant from the church. And it just shows you that, like, music is a spiritual fucking experience, yo. It is. It just fucking is, and y'all need to fucking accept that. Or figure out what that means for y'all.
Yes.
So,
not my job.
I think that's the end of my rant. How about you?
I have said a lot.
Okay.
So is it the Diddy time?
It's that time. Going into a break.
Dad jokes. Notes and quotes. Dad jokes. Notes and quotes. Dad jokes. Dad jokes. Notes and quotes. By Scott Freitas.
Okay, this is, you have to guess which one I said, and we're going to do the best out of 3. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. I used to do drugs, and I still do. I'm not a gynecologist, but I'll take a look.
Is it don't start nothing, don't be nothing?
Does it?
I think it's the second one.
I used to do drugs, and I still do.
Yes.
Yeah, it's number 2.
Ayo!
Okay, can I do the next one?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Hopefully.
Okay, all right, let's see. Yeah. Okay. I don't drink water unless it's from Flint, Michigan.
Jesus.
This is number 2. What if the hokey pokey is what it's all about?
Oh my god.
Hold on, number 3. I'm in the roofers union, and that covers everything. Okay. Number 4, I was incarcerated one time.
It's not the roofers union.
What's number 2?
Hold on. What if the hokey pokey is what it's all about?
I want
like
it.
that
I
one,
want
but
it
it's
to be
not
that
one.
one.
Is it?
Is it? I was incarcerated once.
I think it. I don't know. I feel like it's that one, but I don't think it's that one.
Go ahead. You have to guess 1 through 4.
Maybe it is the hokey pokey. What was the first one?
Oh, shit. Hold on.
Just keep your glasses on.
Okay. I don't drink water unless it's from Flint, Michigan.
Oh, it's that one.
Okay, so what are you guys saying? You're saying number 1. What are you saying, Simon?
Number 4.
You're saying I'm incarcerated? No, it was what if the hokey pokey is what
Damn it! Ah!
Should have trusted our gut. Alright, y'all, we back.
Yes.
And we going right into the key takeaways.
Take these keys.
Simon, give us your keys.
All right. So my first key to be tooketh is define, as I've said like 4 times, defining success and failure. First of all, flunking out of school is not the end of the world. I've done it. I don't know who else has done it, but a lot of other people have done it. Well, I do know other people that have done it, but like straight up, y'all, like, yeah, I was really close to failing out of UNH my first year. Like I mentioned, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And that, as you can fucking see, all I got is these 2 turtles to take care of. So, that didn't happen. But obviously, I do not think that I'm a giant failure in my life. Just like Jasmine did not think she was a giant failure for not being a social work major. Like, you can find different things that will change your career path, and it's very scary. But as long as you're passionate about it, then you can put your trust into it. Like, you can know that as a person, you're gonna change, you're gonna grow, you're gonna experience things that you've never experienced before, and failure is going to be part of it. Like, you can't always expect to succeed without being bad at anything.
Louder.
You are human, you can do bad things and then do good things more.
Yes!
So,
You heard?
yes. Also, if you're determined, you can definitely overcome any setbacks that come in that come to light while you are on your journey of growth.
Yes.
And then the second key takeaway I just wanted to share is about being an artist in Boston or just a big city in general.
Skirt.
Jasmine said, say yes even if you're scared. And that is huge. Like, you know, there's so many people around you. There's so many opportunities. There might be so many things going on that you feel like you should have been a part of. Right. First of all, take should the fuck out of your vocabulary. Like, yeet that shit. Because you can do anything you want. Just because you, quote unquote, missed an opportunity doesn't mean there won't be any more.
That's right.
So, you can always be successful as long as you keep your eyes open. Don't shut down to this narrow ass view of, oh, well, if I wasn't in this one play of the fucking Cuckoo's Next whatever, then I'm a failure. Like, nah! Go audition for The Curious Incident of the Dog in the whatever nighttime or some other shit. Like, figure it out, y'all. But, like,
because, yeah,
you
like,
don't have
one
to quit
thing
on
is going to
yourself.
take you to the next thing.
Exactly.
Start
like, it's
small,
all
bees.
stepping stones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Azib, you got things? I don't know if y'all are ready for this.
I have so many feelings. All right, because this is our last episode of Conversations with Creatives, I'm so sorry, but I'm not sorry. I just need to fucking explode. So, when Jasmine talked about creative organizations, right? It made me think, okay, creative organizations, they are the intersection of business, humanities, and creativity, whether that's for healing, processing, expression, or just building your craft, right? And so I remember when I was saying I'm an arts administration major, and everyone was like, oh, you're going to work for a museum or for a symphony? And I'm like, nah! I'm going to work for a performing arts organization or myself.
Yeah.
So, like, when I say a performing arts organization, that could be the House of Blues, that could be the TD Garden, because, yes, even sports places count, because if a concert can happen there or an artistic experience can happen there, it counts. But for me, I was focused on dance at the time, right? And so I worked at the Boston Ballet in the Education for Community Initiatives department. And our goal was to help connect the organization to the local community, because our real goal was to create a pipeline for children of color in Boston Public Schools to have access to that programming and to have interactions with these elitist institutions and recognize that these places are places for them too, right? So we were walking the walk. And the biggest challenge of being an arts administrator is facing how to break down these systematic and internalized and oppressive systems that exist in these arts organizations, right? Because these organizations were not created initially for everyone and for most folks to have access, right? So people have turned to creating their own organizations. And what happens here in Boston is that we end up all fighting for the same grants, which are minimal, the same resources to support these emerging programs, which need support and backing, that should have been created yesterday. You know what I mean? Even before yesterday.
Yep.
And so what we need is these current organizations to do more. Like, if y'all say you're really up for the cause, you need to be willing to give up your privileges. You need to be willing to give space for these places to exist and for them to expand and for them to grow and for sustainability of our creative economy to fucking be here. Okay?
Yes.
So, obviously I have a lot of feels, like I said.
Yeah, justified ass feelings.
But Boston is a very small town. And we don't like change, period. It's hard to navigate this city, and we end up losing a lot of talent to people of people of color and, like, artists, because they feel more comfortable being in places like DC or places like New York or places like LA or even abroad. And I know it sounds like I'm bashing Boston, but the thing is, if our city doesn't do more or do better to support us and give us space, then we'll never feel empowered to create and make the change and impact that we are destined to do, you know? Lastly, I would also just like to say that Boston's economy is pretty much 80% reliant on the artistic economy. There's a whole survey that came out from the Office of Arts and Culture in Boston City Hall that is, you know, pretty much revamped every other year. And if I can find it, I'll share it with y'all. But, like, it just proves that cities are dependent economically on artistic development and growth. Because at the end of the day, entertainment is a form of art, and people will pay for that shit.
Yep.
Because, like we always say, capitalism is the root of all this bullshit. So I just want to also shout out to organizations like Dunamis that I wish existed when I was an emerging artist, and I still am an emerging artist. But, like, I really wish that I knew or that these organizations existed a bajillion years ago.
Yeah.
So that we all could really take this shit seriously and feel like we could really take on that venture, right? Whereas, like, you know, technology and math and science are always, like, backed by some kind of shit, right? Because it's, like, the advancement of humanity. But so is art, okay?
Yeah, I mean, the advancement of humanity. I took a humanities class. The whole fucking class was art. Like, there was not a single fucking thing that was actually about, like, you know, science, engineering, and, like, you know, maybe there was some architectural, structural things, which is still fucking art.
It's still
like,
art. Period.
Literally being human is being art.
Right.
Like,
so my second point is that I want to normalize this idea of creating groups or going into business ventures with your friends who have a vision and a drive, keyword, and a drive.
drive is big.
Don't just do it with any of your friends. Really think about it because you don't want to damage those relationships.
Yep.
But if you really want to do something, right, there are so many groups that already exist based off the idea of, let me just start this business with my friend. For example, the government. The government was a whole, oh yeah, you don't fuck with this like religious shit in fucking Catholicism in England? Me neither, I'm a Puritan, let's fucking go. Hello, the United States of America. Sweet Green, two white guys that wanted to eat better, so they provided options and dropped out of college. They're probably making millions now. Yep. Dance companies that I've worked with and been a part of in the Boston area, On Stage Dance Company and Nozama. Hello. People who went to college together, danced together, and then said when they graduated, oh, I still want to dance with you, and then formed whole dance companies.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you are so capable. Petrichor, like Jasmine mentioned, they were from the Allegrettos, right? I think that's how I say it. They sang together in college and then created this group. And they hosted a whole ass show. They're legit. The fucking Freitas Effect.
Heyo.
We exist. We're real. So if you want to fucking do something, just fucking do it, man.
Literally.
Because you're going to fail and you're going to learn. And that's it. Everything's growth.
What's his name? Shia LaBeouf. Just do it.
Just do it, baby.
Fucking do it.
So if you have an idea, I really implore you to run with it because I'm sure that it's a fucking phenomenal idea and don't fucking doubt yourself. That is everything I have left in me.
First person to tell you no is yourself.
Amen.
So,
Get out of your head.
Get out. Hashtag get out.
And I just also want to be completely clear that Simon and I are definitely not perfect.
Oh, no.
And like that, you know, our confidence may seem like, oh yeah, they know what they're doing. No, we never fucking know what we're doing ever.
We know we got a plan.
Yeah, we try our best. You know what I mean? We try to be prepared and we try to have a plan.
Yeah, we're
you
just,
know?
as much as we are afraid of improvising, we're getting pretty good at it.
Yeah, it's all practice, like we said. So that's literally all that I have.
All right, you ready to say goodbye? You got some announcements.
I do have an announcement, actually.
Oh my God, you got an announcement.
So, like I mentioned, I'm a part of this project with Nozama Dance Collective. And we're going to be providing a bunch of dance stuff virtually through our Empower One Another series that's going to be happening on September 26th. So I hope that y'all will support and watch because I am particularly involved in this one thing that I'm very excited to share with y'all that I cannot say more about yet. But if there are tickets to be purchased, I'll let y'all know. You will hear more from me if you follow me on my Instagram at Azeb, AZEB, 3_. And whatever. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I don't have any announcements, so you ready to sign off?
Yabby.
All right, y'all. Be sure to like the episode,
Share with friends and follow on social media.
subscribe, and comment on SoundCloud,
Follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
or wherever you stream us,
Email us or comments on social media.
or leave a review with any feedback
Affirmations or topics.
you want to hear on the show at.
TheFreightesEffect@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.
Have a great rest of your week and please stay safe and healthy and survive.
Literally, bye. I love you. Bye.